Hey folks, before we dive in, just a quick reminder. If you want to stay ahead of the storm and keep up with all the latest weather alerts, make sure you follow SkyAlert USA. Support us by subscribing, liking, and dropping a comment below. It really helps us keep bringing you the coverage you need. All right, let's get started.
Good Monday, everyone, and welcome back to SkyAlert USA, your #1 source for breaking weather alerts, storm tracking, and severe weather coverage across the United States and Canada. I'm coming to you live on this Monday, February 23rd, 2026, and I need you to stop what you're doing because what is happening right now across the Northeast is nothing short of historic. We are in the middle of one of the most powerful nor'easters to strike the eastern seaboard in nearly a decade. And if you live anywhere from Maryland to Maine, you already know, this is not a drill. This is not a regular snowstorm. This is the blizzard of 2026. Let's break it all down. What's happening right now, where conditions are the worst, what you can expect over the next 72 hours, and what's coming for the rest of the country and Canada. Stay with me, because this is a long one. Right now, as I speak to you, over 69 million people across the northeastern United States are under active winter weather alerts. Blizzard warnings stretch more than 600 miles along the eastern coastline, from Maryland all the way up through Maine. This storm system was the unofficially named Winter Storm Hernando by the Weather Channel, but widely referred to as simply the blizzard of 2026, has fully materialized into one of the most dangerous and destructive nor'easters in recent memory. The National Weather Service has classified this system as a classic bomb cyclone nor'easter, and for good reason. The low-pressure center, sitting near 970 millibars off the Delmarva Peninsula, has been rapidly deepening, the process known as bombogenesis, where a storm drops at least 24 millibars of pressure in 24 hours. That rapid intensification is exactly what has supercharged this storm into the monster it is today. Let's talk snowfall. As of Monday morning, New York City has already received between 16 and 19 inches of snow, according to Mayor Zohran Mamdani. Parts of New Jersey and Long Island have seen nearly 2 full feet of snowfall. The National Weather Service warned that snowfall rates of 2 to 3 inches per hour were occurring throughout the early morning hours. That is an extraordinary rate that buries roads, cars, and walkways almost faster than plows can clear them. Blizzard warnings are in effect for nearly the entire I-95 corridor, the first such widespread warnings along this corridor in 4 years. For New York City specifically, this is the first blizzard warning since March 2017. For Boston, it marks the first blizzard warning since January 2022. These are not just numbers. These warnings represent the real and present danger of sustained winds of 35 miles per hour or greater, combined with visibility of 1/4 mile or less for 3 or more hours. That means whiteout conditions. That means you cannot see in front of you. That means travel is essentially impossible. Wind gusts of 40 to 70 miles per hour are battering the coastline. The Weather Service's Boston meteorologist Bryce Williams said it perfectly. Winds like that, combined with heavy wet snow, are a recipe for damaged trees and prolonged power outages. And that is exactly what we're seeing. As of midday Monday, more than 600,000 utility customers across the Northeast are without power. The worst impacts concentrated in Massachusetts and New Jersey. Let's go state by state because the impacts here are massive. New York Governor Kathy Hochul declared a state of emergency ahead of the storm and activated approximately 100 members of the National Guard. Mayor Mamdani issued a citywide travel ban beginning at 9 p.m. Sunday through noon Monday, shutting down all streets, highways, and bridges to non-essential traffic. New York City deployed over 700 salt spreaders and converted more than 2,000 garbage trucks into snowplows. Schools across NYC were closed Monday, what Mayor Mamdani called the first old-school snow day since 2019. The mayor warned this storm could rank among New York City's 10 worst storms in 150 years of records. Long Island and the Hudson Valley counties of Westchester and Fairfield are under coastal flood warnings as well. New Jersey. Governor Mickey Sherrill declared a state of emergency, implementing a travel ban through midday Monday. NJ Transit suspended all rail services as of 6 p.m. Sunday. Coastal flooding warnings were issued along the Jersey Shore. Parts of New Jersey have reported nearly 2 feet of snow, among the highest totals in the region. Massachusetts. Blizzard warnings are in effect across the state, and Boston public schools canceled classes for Monday. The Boston Weather Service office warned of a potentially historic and destructive storm southeast of the Boston-Providence corridor. The state faces some of the most extreme wind gusts of the entire event. Connecticut. A state of emergency remains active with commercial travel bans in place. As of Monday, approximately 15,000 customers across the state are without power, with officials warning that outages are expected to rise as heavy, wet snow continues accumulating. State police responded to over 250 motor vehicle assists and 82 accidents. Rhode Island. State of emergency declared, commercial vehicle bans in effect. The state is bracing for significant snow accumulation and power outages. Pennsylvania. Governor Josh Shapiro issued a disaster emergency declaration. PennDOT deployed approximately 60,000 tons of salt across 5 counties. Philadelphia declared a snow emergency and code blue through February 25, citing below freezing temperatures. The school district of Philadelphia switched to virtual learning. Travel restrictions were placed on nearly all major interstates including I-76, I-78, I-81, I-83, I-84, I-95, and the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Maryland and Delaware. Blizzard warnings are in effect for eastern sections of both states. Delaware's eastern shore and eastern Maryland were among the first areas to receive blizzard warnings as the storm approached from the south. Across all of these states combined, over 8,000 flights have been canceled for the February 22nd to 23rd window, with thousands more delayed. New York area airports, particularly JFK, are experiencing the most severe disruptions in the nation.
This powerful nor'easter doesn't stop at the U.S. border. As the system tracks northeast, it's targeting the Canadian maritime provinces. Environment and Climate Change Canada has issued special weather statements and yellow winter storm watches for most of the Maritimes. Parts of Newfoundland and Labrador are under yellow winter storm warnings, with coastal flood advisories, wind warnings, and blowing snow advisories also in effect. Nova Scotia spent most of Sunday under an orange weather warning. That's the second highest severity level used by Environment Canada. Wind speeds in Nova Scotia are forecast to exceed 80 kilometers per hour, or roughly 50 miles per hour. Nova Scotia Power's Emergency Operations Centre activated on Monday, bracing for widespread outages as the storm's northern flank sweeps through the province.
The Maritimes are no strangers to powerful storms, but a system of this caliber demands serious respect and preparation.
Now, while the Northeast is consumed by blizzard conditions, the West Coast has its own serious weather story to tell. The Weather Prediction Center has issued a marginal risk of excessive rainfall for portions of southwestern Washington, all of western Oregon, and into portions of northern California. A deep trough extending from British Columbia southwest toward the Hawaiian Islands is directing a 170-knot southwesterly jet stream aimed directly at western Washington state. Meanwhile, an atmospheric river, a long corridor of enhanced moisture extending from the tropics into the Pacific Northwest, is bringing heavy, persistent rainfall to the region. A surface low embedded within this trough is expected to develop along the atmospheric river's plume, locally enhancing rainfall rates into southern Oregon and northern California Monday night. Residents along low-lying rivers and streams in these areas should monitor conditions closely and be prepared for potential localized flooding. The Sierra Nevada mountains are also benefiting from this western moisture plume, with additional significant snowfall on top of a strong snow event that already hit the Sierras between February 19th and 20th. Ski resorts across the Sierra Nevada are seeing excellent base depths, but also some operational challenges from avalanche risk and extremely heavy loading on structures.
Looking ahead to the middle of the week, the Weather Prediction Center is drawing attention to a developing threat across the central United States. On Thursday, moisture is forecast to increase significantly ahead of strong upper-level energy pushing through the central U.S. and along a cold frontal boundary at the surface. This setup could trigger rain and thunderstorms across portions of the southeast, into the Tennessee and Ohio valleys, and toward the southern and central Appalachians. Widespread rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches are forecast, with locally higher totals possible. A marginal risk for excessive rainfall and flooding has been highlighted for this region on the Day 4 outlook. Additionally, further north along this system, wintry weather is expected across parts of the Northeast. Once again, with snow north of the low-pressure track and a band of sleet and freezing rain in the transition zone. The pattern, frankly, is not letting up, and there is a big-picture reason for that.
Here is the big-picture story for all of us. And it is critical that you understand this, because what is happening right now is not random. It is tied to a massive atmospheric event that has been reshaping our weather patterns for weeks. Back in early 2026, a sudden stratospheric warming event, or SSW, occurred, sending temperatures in the stratosphere soaring by more than 50 degrees Celsius above normal. This extraordinary warming disrupted the polar vortex, the large-scale circulation of cold air that normally keeps Arctic air locked near the poles. When the polar vortex weakens or collapses, that Arctic air escapes southward. And that is exactly what happened across North America through January and into February. The January-February 2026 North American cold wave was one of the most extreme cold weather events in recent history. Temperatures plunged to -42 degrees Fahrenheit in parts of Minnesota. Chicago hit -11 degrees Fahrenheit, with wind chills of -36 degrees. Even Florida saw record cold, Orlando recording 25 degrees, Miami hitting 35, and Daytona Beach recording what became its coldest February day on record. Over 170 deaths were confirmed across North America related to that cold wave and the catastrophic winter storm Fern, which struck from January 23rd through 27th and caused over $4 billion in damages. Now, in the last third of February, the stratospheric warming's influence is reasserting itself. High-pressure anomalies are returning to the polar regions, and low-pressure systems are dominating the northern and eastern United States. Exactly the pattern meteorologists predicted would follow a major SSW event. The blizzard of 2026 hitting the Northeast today is a direct manifestation of this large-scale atmospheric collapse. Looking into the last days of February and toward early March, the pattern suggests continued cold across western Canada and parts of the western United States, while the eastern U.S. remains in an active storm track. La Niña fading toward ENSO neutral is also playing a role. As tropical constraints weaken, the polar vortex-driven dynamics are running the show with fewer checks on their behavior. The bottom line: this is not the end of winter. Stay prepared, stay alert.
Before I let you go, I want to give you critical safety reminders. If you are in the Northeast, do not travel unless it is a life or death emergency. Visibility is near zero in many areas. Roads are sheet ice, and emergency responders are already stretched thin. We've already seen a New York Department of Transportation plow truck overturn in Bay Shore, Long Island. If a massive plow truck can be taken out, a regular vehicle stands no chance. If you lose power, do not use generators, grills, or camp stoves indoors. Carbon monoxide poisoning is a silent killer during power outages. Dress in layers and check on elderly neighbors and family members. If you are on the West Coast, monitor river gauges and be prepared for localized flooding from the atmospheric river event. Avoid driving through flooded roadways. It only takes 6 inches of moving water to knock a person down.